Welcome back, Dapplings, to From the Depths and to the main campaign, where I have just been putting the finishing touches onto our crane arm, the primary one. I will be copying this across, but I've just received notification that we are about to be in a battle. So let us head on up there and find out exactly what's going on. We've got a fleet with one warden, two Telemacaus, one buttress, I thought there was two of them, a parapet, and another parapet. Okay. Now, question is, how much of our army do we really want to bring into this battle? I'm thinking that probably don't want to take all of the avatars in there. It makes for fairly an interesting battles, all said and done. So how about we drop the Fesic all the way down. We'll also take out the Tickbury. We'll take in the Mr. Fenicus and the Avatar, the Titanic, the two Sobacs, and the Abaya. So let's move these ships into position. Let's move you there. We want the Mr. Fenicus about there. Titanic can be with Mr. Fenicus. Actually, I'll be a little bit further behind, just so that it avoids being surfaced too close to the enemy. And then the two Sobacs a little bit further behind as well. Once we're done with this, I will begin loading in the temple ship. It isn't yet finished. I haven't done much work beyond what you've seen on camera. Well, I've actually done several hours worth of work. I spend about 2 to 3 hours a night working on it, but that equates to a lot of shaping and not very much else. So unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit of a long build, but I was thinking that I could actually start loading it into the campaign and just retrofitting the design as I make large adjustments, so it actually looks like the dock is slowly building this monstrous ship. Right, there we go. I want to be on the Avatar right now if I can be. Yes, this should do. Why am I not on the Avatar? Why am I in a Sobac? Scallywags. There we go. I need to hear these gigantic cannons. Maybe not as loud as that, but still. Let's actually see what's going on here. Of course, nighttime battles, can barely see a thing. Unfortunately, I was trying to get to a sort of sweet spot where I wouldn't have all of my avatars loaded in, but the enemy would have all of their fleet loaded. I'm starting to think that the only way I'm going to be able to find that sweet spot is if I actually split the fleets a little bit so that we don't have all of the avatars in a single group. This might be the best way of doing it, honestly. We've already wiped out one, and the next, I believe this would be one of the parapets, already gone. Are there any more enemies to load in, or is this it? Have we already destroyed all of them? My goodness. Well, this warden must comprise an awful lot of blocks for it to have to be loaded in by itself. And unfortunately for the warden, it's being loaded in more or less facing the wrong way. Though it doesn't seem to be that much of a problem for its main guns. But I don't think it's actually going to be in a position to attack us before the two avatars have stripped away the vast majority of its weapon systems and power. I do feel sorry for you, I honestly do. Let's see, how are the Sobacs doing? Are they actually getting into this fight? Yes, they are. Well done, Sobacs. Very well done. I approve. And it looks like one of our other avatars is loaded in and is already actually joining the fight. Very impressive. I do need to check out the Sobacs though, because their missiles do seem to be going astray more often than not. I'm not sure exactly what the problem is there, but there's definitely something going wrong. Perhaps I'll need to set up some of the missiles with variable rate thrusters anyway, so it's probably actually high time that I retrofit the weapon systems on the Sobacs. If I'm perfectly honest, it's high time that I replace most of the Sobacs with light metal alloy rather than wood, but I like the creaking sound. And I know I'll get that anyway, even if it's mostly made of metal, but it feels odd if it's there when there's no wood involved. Alright, so there we go. That was not a terribly bad fight. Let's give you orders to clear out this area, shall we? I think we should. And whilst you're busy doing that, I am going to hop over to one of the Sobacs. Right. Oh, you actually took a little bit of damage. Bless you. Right, let's have a look then. Why are your missiles going so awry? You've clearly got some that are list designated. That'll be the thumpers. So we've got a thumper head. Got a lot of fuel in this. You don't actually need anything beyond fuel if you've got a thumper, really. This actually looks like a pretty solid weapon. I don't need to do anything there. But what about you? Why are you going so wrong? Infrared seeker, 1 turn, camera for infrared seeker, set to aim at center of mass. That should not be the case. Let's do that. 2 fins. Okay. This is a very old missile. If I've got all of the fins kind of riddled throughout. Because of the base drag, it's better to have them way at the back. Go, and then we want just a little bit of fuel. Camera is fine. The 1 turn actually has a decent base, but this camera should actually be way at the back as well because of its base drag. So we'll drop that in there. And a fuel tank here. And that's about it. The fragmentation warhead has quite a lot of drag there. But on the whole, I think this should be fine. We shouldn't have too much problems with that. Now, I forget which missile this was. I'm going to call it the Wasp Infrared, as I believe that used to be the Wasp Mark 1. So we'll load in the Wasp Infrared there, and we should all be good. There we are. All is well. Now I just need to find the other Sobac. Where are you, Eric Martin? There we go. This has been a long time coming. I should have done this a very long time ago. I apologize. Yeah, that should all be set up correctly. And now you as well. The Sobacs could really do with a fairly extensive retrofit, honestly. I'm being lazy by not doing it. Just making sure that the thruster is properly set. Okay. Right then, I think we are safe to pull the entire fleet out of combat. Let's go ahead and pull all and allow you to move on your way. And we'll jump down back to our dock. So we'll spawn that in. Or we will soon. I hope. I still haven't actually tied it into a proper fleet yet, so... There we are. Perfect. Now, I'm really quite happy with this. I like the red and green lights. I really need to play more with colored lighting. It is not something I've done much of in the past, and I need to do more of it because it adds such an interesting effect. Now, I'm not entirely satisfied with this crane arm. We're going to have to just assume that it is some sort of crazy space age material being used here. Oh, you know what? I couldn't put my finger on why it didn't look right. I could tell it was something to do with weight, but it's, of course, I've got no counterweight. I've just got this massively extended arm, so all the weight is out here. The center of mass is probably like somewhere around there, I imagine. That's a massive guess, but we need a large arm reaching back with some sort of counterweight system to make it look like this arm could actually support the weight that it's going to have to. Okay, well, I'm going to quickly build that in and add in the other 2 arms to this current rail track. I've had a lot of suggestions on ways that I might be able to make these move. I've tried out almost all of them, and unfortunately, I could never get anything that was stable enough to be satisfactory. They always wobbled or pitched left or right, or sometimes just threatened to come off the rails completely. If I could make it so that the collisions were non-damaging, and I did try with rubber, but it still didn't quite have the right effect, it would glitch out. The physics engine just really doesn't like things touching which aren't in some way properly connected. So I can't have these sliding back and forth as much as I truly wish I could. At least not yet. Perhaps when things are adjusted a little bit. But I shall bring you back momentarily. And welcome back. As you can see, I have been busy updating this construction arm. Now, I haven't updated the other two, and that's because I wanted to show you them side by side so you can have a proper little comparison. There are a few specific details about the builds of the construction arms that I'd like to go over, namely the spin wheel moves at different speeds for each one, just to give it a little bit more character. There are different colored lights. The two on the side have red, and the one in the middle has green, and I'm thinking that this is going to be because, at least when we're building the temple ship or any large ship, it's going to be the centermost docking clamp that's going to be active. So I thought, well, that would have a green light to show that it's engaged, whereas the red lights would be for out of use docking arms. So if I were to have 3 separate ships or flyers docked here, then I would have all of the lights be green. Now, over here, as you can see, I've done quite a lot of work to the shape of the arm, and I've added in some colors as well. And I think it's starting to look a little bit more like it could actually support its weight. Realistically speaking, once we actually add the temple ship to it, it's going to look all sorts of wrong. I mean, this is a metal box full of lead, a spiky metal box, mind you, craftsdwarf ship of the highest caliber, I assure you. But I mean, even a metal box full of lead isn't going to be able to support the temple ship, not on this flimsy arm. But I don't care too much. I think it does the job of showing what it's meant to be. I've also used alternating orientation glass blocks to create a glass block chain. This is something that I've seen used quite a lot in different builds, and I've always kind of liked the idea of it. I do wish it would be possible to make the glass even less opaque, but there's not much we can do. I would love it if there was an actual chain, but we'll just have to live with that. Now, I brought you back before I was finished with everything, primarily so I could show you what they look like side by side, but we also have a battle just about to begin. In fact, it's a fairly large one. We've got 2 strength 40-ish fleets bearing down on the Aavatar fleet, and we've got the stockade down here. Now, I'm really starting to feel that this fleet is far, far too powerful. So, I'm going to head over there, and I'm thinking to try and split it up a little bit. We've got the Fezzik. The Fezzik's going to stay with the Aavatar, because the Fezzik and the Aavatar have always been together. Whereas the Mr. Fennicus and the Tickbury, they can be in a new fleet. I'm going to split the Avatars up. I do want to build more ships. Namely, I want 2 more Sobacs and at least 2 more Abayas to go with the new fleet. But for the time being, I'm going to have... Ooh, we're being blockaded. Harbinger of Anguish. No, we'll move our ships a little bit more first. We'll have the Abaya down here as well. We'll have one of the Sobacs go with the Mr. Fennicus fleet. In fact, we could have both of them. I'm not sure, actually. Eric Martin, you can stay with the Aavatar fleet, and the Titanic 2 can go with the Mr. Fennicus fleet for now. I will want to build another Sobac and another Abaya to join each fleet, just to pad them out a little bit. But I'm not sure I'm going to be able to remove them all from the fleet. Split these forces each into a new fleet? Sure. No. No, no. All of you come down here and do it quickly, please. Can I join you? Merge these forces together into a fleet. Haha! Really? No, I don't want you to be the... Sobac, give up the control of this fleet to the Mr. Fennicus, please. There we go. Right, okay, well, I'm going to use that fleet to engage this force. That should be fairly quick. And it shouldn't lead to an impossibly easy battle for our avatars to win. So, Mr. Fennicus, you can go there. The Tickbury, you can go there. We'll have the Titanic 2 with you. And the Sobac will join you in backing up. Now, we're against a Stockade, a Telemachus, and 2 Bastions, and a Parapet. Now, I do apologize. So many people have told me how to pronounce that name, and have even pointed to where the name comes from, and I was kind of mortified that I didn't know, and I've still forgotten how to pronounce it. I accept full responsibility for that blunder. I'm going to have to go back to the comments again to hunt down those numerous comments, but they happened around the same couple of videos, which were a while ago, and find out how I'm meant to pronounce this bloody name. Bad times. But we should now be able to have a decent battle on our hands. So let's see how this goes without pulling in too many different forces. Hopefully it goes well. We're going to go and join the Mr. Fenicus, I think. There we go. And let's see. There we are. Now, the game has had significant improvements added to it in terms of FPS and just its general performance. So we should be able to see much larger battles without too much trouble. Let's move in there. In the vehicle designer, I've had a lot of avatars in play before my FPS started to significantly drop. In the biggest sort of battles, like around the 40 block to the 50 block, my FPS would be around about 30, sometimes dipping into the mid-20s for particularly large battles, but I think that'll be quite sustainable for the remainder of the series. We shouldn't have to drop the block limit too much until possibly the gigantic capital ships later on. But it looks like our forces aren't doing amazingly well. Both avatars have taken 4% damage. Mind you, that's significantly better than what the enemy are having to suffer with right now. Oh, and I've got a level up. That's always nice to see. Right, let's have a quick look at how this is going. They're basically focusing on the stockade right now, down to 52%. The Sobac's hanging back, just launching its missiles here and there. The Titanic 2 is getting involved, but the Titanics, or rather the Abayas, aren't really designed for combat so much as they have weapons in case they need to use them. Their weapon system uses a lot of ammo, and they don't have much, so it takes a very long time between firing that torpedo. It's quite damaging once it reaches the target, and it gets there very fast, but they don't fire quickly. Now, they're starting to see a bit of split damage going on now. Both Bastions have taken a fair chunk of damage, and this one's taken an awful lot more as well. That was glorious. That's 60% there, 72 here, 3 more torpedoes about to impact. Wow, that actually cleaved off almost 10% in one go. Is the stockade gone? Yes, the stockade is in fact gone. There's not a whole lot left to these forces. Ours are having a convincing victory, honestly. The Tickbury not doing so amazingly well in terms of repairs, but that's largely because I'm not there. And at this point, I represent such a significant part of a ship's repair capability. It's not really fair to compare them. On that note, I should actually be able to quickly improve that as well. Yeah, let's just drop some more into mechanic. There we go. We've got 2 damage sinking. The Titanic 2 just like chilling out down there, enjoying the view. Whilst, yep, 2 damaged. I think that battle is won. Yes, I much preferred that. I much preferred that battle. Although it was still pretty much a wash for the enemy. That was largely because we were fighting a smaller force, really. Let's move you down. We'll split these guys up at this point. In fact, you can go and claim the territory you've just effectively won. But I'll keep you relatively close just in case I need you to back up the Harbinger of... Oh, let me zoom out there. Harbinger of Anguish. Now, what kind of name should we go for? I kind of like the whole Harbinger sort of naming scheme, so why not do something like this? We've got the Harbinger of Anguish over there, so let's go for... We'll rename this fleet from the HMS Sobac, yes. Oops, caps lock. There we go. Keeping with a nice theme there, so we've got the Harbinger of Anguish, flagship, the Avatar, and the Harbinger of Sorrow, flagship, the Mr. Fenicus. I think this is going well. But that is going to be the wrapping up point for this episode. I do hope you are enjoying it so far and look forward to the continuation of the main campaign. There are a couple more episodes left now to build the temple ship, but once we actually start loading that in, I think it's going to start really taking shape, because I'll be able to work on it, both the campaign and the build episodes. I'll probably do the main work in the build episodes, but I might leave some of the odds and sods and just the detailing to do in the campaign while it's actually docked up in the city, because I think that'll be quite a nice thing to look at. But again, thank you very much for joining me. I hope to see you in the next, but until then, and as always, do take care.